Okay, just starting up my stream for launch day for Snapshot Spirit Live. Let me put this over here. Yeah, I am Dr. Skylar L. Anderson. I go by Sky or Dr. Sky, and I just released uh, my first game on Steam. I've been making games for 10 years, but I've released all of my previous games for free on my website or on itch.io, and this is my first Steam launch title, and I wanted to record a playthrough of this game for posterity. It doesn't take that long to play. For me, it takes about 30 minutes. Uh, for other people, it may take like 45, maybe. It's around there. So I'm going to try to take my time and try to emulate what it's like for a new player to play this game. I'm just in my home office, which is why you'd see like a love sack bag behind me or a guest bed, maybe, or some pillows or something. So it's a little less flashy than my office setup. First, I would think it's kind of fun just to show off the store page really quick. There we go. So this is me logged in. So this is the store page for Snapshot Spirit Live. And I am going to start playing it momentarily. These are the screenshots that I have. This is a 4K monitor, which is why everything looks like a little small. Just fine. The game won't look small because it'll be full screen. Back to my library. I do have a demo available. I have recently shortened the demo. I just wanted the demo to give just a very brief taste of what it feels like to play the game. It doesn't even get into a lot of the mechanics, but I used to have a bigger demo, a longer demo, and I felt like people got far enough in the game where they didn't really discover all of the mechanics, and were like, "Oh, is this it?" So I feel like if I shorten the demo and just give you sort of a taste, then you can play the full game and actually get access to everything. Well, it will do a better job of communicating what the game is about. But of course, on Steam, if you play any game for less than 2 hours, you can just refund it. So I guess technically you could do that with this game. It only takes 45 minutes to play. But I'm going to grab my controller over here. If you hear any banging, it's because I have just my Yeti mic on the desk stand. So anytime I click something on my keyboard or bang against my desk, you'll be hearing a sound. I haven't invested in a microphone arm for my home office like I do at my work office. Well, I'm going to play through the game and show you what it's about. I really enjoyed making that little intro cinematic, and one of the goals of that intro cinematic was to show all of the camera mechanics right away. And then after that, I wanted to have a screen that let players know that while I did initially design the game to be really good for controller, it is fully playable on keyboard too. And in fact, there's no mouse controls in this game. It's all keyboard or game controller. So I have my game controller here. And you'll notice that down in the bottom right hand side of the screen, it changed from keyboard inputs now to gamepad inputs. If I go to the keyboard, you'll see it now says up arrow key, down arrow key, and spacebar by just tapping the key. But if I use my controller, it recognizes that. And yeah, so I guess I could start with the credits. Game design, development, art, and music by me, Skylar L. Anderson. The music was made on a Game Boy using LSDJ or a Game Boy emulator for 2 of the tracks. And the font is a font that I love by the late Neil Davidson. He has passed away. According to the website that he hosted the font on, his family says people can just use the font, so I still wanted to credit him. The background for the Ghost camera previews, that was designed by an itch.io content creator that released that tile set for free with credit, so I credit Hannah And then, of course, all of the input handling is by a library called Comprehensive Cross-Platform Input for Game Maker by Juju Adams, Aline Keith, and friends. For settings, we can change the colors, but we're going to do that when we start the game anyway. Controls, you can remap the movement controls, and there's secondary movement controls. I mostly did it because on a gamepad you have the sticks, and then you also have the I guess the directional inputs, which act more like buttons. And I noticed some players wanted to use the directional inputs. Some people wanted to use the stick. So I made it so both works, and on a keyboard it changes to up, down, left, right, which is how I play, but I know some people on keyboard like to use WASD, but you can remap any of these controls just by clicking this like down here. I can make this the right trigger if I wanted, but I'm going to just go over here and just restore defaults because I arranged the game the way I like to play it. Actually, there's only 2 action buttons. There's a primary action button and then just a pause or menu button, which is also remappable for keyboard or controller. There's an assist menu that you can access from a landing page later in the game, so I won't go over that. Sound menu where you can adjust the volumes of the music and the effects. So you'll be hearing less of the clicking. Screen, where I can change it from full screen to its actual base canvas resolution of 480 pixels by 270, which, just to show you what it looks like, I'll show you in a moment, but there's different resolution options for windowed play and also full screen. So to show you the base canvas resolution of the game, it looks like this. So let me make sure I can see it on stream. Oh, there it goes. It's really, really small. So I'm going to revert back. It puts the pixel in pixel art. And then lastly, a delete save data option where we can delete progress. But since we have not started the game, there's no progress to delete. And now we will start the game. Here we can change the colors. I have a foreground and a background color, and change the foreground color to a bunch of different things. Background color, like I always like pink and deep purple as a good combination. I've designed the game with the cyan look to it. Red, I think, gets a little abrasive on the eyes. Yellow looks good. Lime looks good. I think deep green also looks kind of cool. But since the game's... I designed the game around this particular look, the cyan look, I'm just going to select that. Okay, time to brainstorm some ideas. It's so tough to think of a good streaming channel name, she says, off to the right. Instructions for how to move. Press button A. Some little polish I gave the game is this, the butterflies and flies and bees, if you get near them, they'll kind of like fly away from you. And also these water droplets, if you stand underneath them, they will drop on your head, which I thought was cute. Jetpack photography, jetpacks and pics. Menu and pause button. Just resume and exit the title. A streaming channel always needs a catchy name. And here's where you first encounter thorns or thorn bushes. If you touch them, nothing really bad happens. You just restart at the beginning of the room or area. Maybe camera jet or Jetstream Snapshot? Hover by pressing and releasing the jetpack button. I noticed that this gave some people pause. There was a little difficult for some players if they're not very game literate. But I wanted people to feel comfortable using the jetpack, so this is just a little trial where they know that they're comfortable floating around. Katie says off to the right, as soon as I have a channel name, I can start streaming. Wait, what is that? I think I have an idea. So, when I was making the game, I called this the landing page, but basically it's where we start our live streams as a streamer named Katie. And here you can hit start stream, but also you can access your portfolio of the different ghosts you've captured. The assist menu, where you can change the game if it's too difficult for you. First one is ignore thorn damage, which is pretty easily explained here. Grants you invincibility, basically. You can ignore fuel limits for your jetpack, so that you can just fly forever. You can ignore point penalties when you're taking photos, so that if you don't take a perfect photo, you still get all the points anyway. And lastly, camera auto mode, which is like God mode. If you turn this on, your camera will have perfect settings every time. And then a wiki, which is just basically just a dictionary, encyclopedia of different photography concepts. Some of them I summarized from Wikipedia. From there, some of them I just summarized from my own knowledge. But now let's start the stream. Good morning, chat. And welcome back to my stream, Snapshot Spirit. This music track is my favorite in the game. Having to press pause on college was tough, but this stream is a lifesaver. It combines 3 wildly different things. Flying a jetpack, super fun. Photography, my art and my passion. And finding ghosts, spooky. Today I'm only going to focus on one thing, focus. It can be hard to focus on ghosts. They're basically flat apparitions. But I always want to make sure I have clean, perfectly focused images. The haunted forest mountain is straight ahead. Let's get snapping. At skill level 1, our camera only can focus. Higher skill levels will unlock new features. Okay. The last bug I fixed before releasing the game was that if players skipped these 2 ghosts, it would cause a bug that would happen 2 out of 3 times with new ghosts. If there's no old ghosts that have been photographed, it causes issues with spawning new random ghosts. But these 2 ghosts aren't random, they're placed strategically. So I fixed that, now the game doesn't crash if you skip these. Plane ghost. I'm just playing as the astral plane. Just the focus. You can see it on the top right. Focus bar, and I also, one last feature I added before releasing the game is the little check marks, so players know exactly when they've met a requirement. And then in the left you can see the ghost gets blurry when I adjust the focus. I think that's a really fun feature. Everything else says locked. I don't think they're plain. They're pretty cool to me. Some of the ghosts, a lot of the ghosts I describe as being gender fluid, so I say, or gender non-binary, because they're ghosts, they're dead, so I call them they or their. Anime ghost. I'm just a hero for fun. That's a reference to One Punch Man. Cowboy ghost, you look like somebody just walked over your grave. Looking mighty handsome, partner. Cowboy ghost, the West is where you make your own luck. If I'm looking over here, it's because I have my stream stats and recording stats on the second monitor, so I'm just always checking to make sure everything's working. Looking mighty handsome, partner, she says. For every ghost, there's 3 pieces of flavor text the ghost can say, and there's 3 different reactions that Katie, the streamer, can say. Plain ghost. I'm just playing as the astral plane. Level up, a new feature unlocked on my camera. Perfect way to end today's stream. Then we get back here, we can look at our portfolio, see the ghost artwork and the flavor text. We missed one, there was 4 ghosts that we could have captured there. Let's start the next stream. We've captured some great photos of some super cute ghosts. The better I get at photography, the better I'll be at finding new ghosts. Also, my camera has some new features. First, I now can use the light meter to measure exposure. Exposure means how much light is reaching my camera's sensor. Overexposed, too much light. Underexposed, too little light. Ghosts emit light, so watch out for bright or dim ghosts. The second new feature will help me with that. I can now change my camera's ISO. The ISO is how sensitive my camera's sensor is to light. Higher ISO, more sensitive. Lower ISO, more sensitive. Less sensitive. Higher ISO introduces noise into the image, but I won't worry about that for now. Enough chatting, let's get snapping. I say that because later in the game, you will have an ISO requirement where you have to have the lowest possible ISO setting where all other photo requirements are still met to reduce noise in the image. From now on, I think I'm just going to be focusing on new ghosts because they get more more skill level points faster. I'll ignore the ghosts that I've already captured. Invisible ghost, shining brightly. Promise you can't see me? Now I can adjust the ISO. Come out wherever you are. Three ghosts shining faintly. Did you know the strongest shape is the triangle? Uno, dos. I can never remember how to say 3 in Spanish, which is funny because I speak Spanish. 8 ghosts shining brightly. On my side, I look like an infinity ghost. A lot of great words rhyme with 8, like, I have a date with my mate where we'll skate. Sad ghost shining faintly. Favorite movies? Requiem for a Dream. Still Alice. The sad movies. And if you read the flavor text in the portfolio, it has other like favorite music. The Cure. My Chemical Romance. Dashboard Confessional. 6 ghosts shining faintly. Get 3 of us together and you've got a pretty creepy trio. 666. Level up, a new feature unlocked on my camera. Perfect way to end today's stream. So I wanted to show you Bad Ghosts. Sad Ghost, yeah. Favorite bands, Death Cab for Cutie, Dashboard Confessional. Favorite movies, Requiem for a Dream, Still Alice. Favorite colors, gray, dark gray. Not even black. I love my favorite color is black. All my clothing is black. Except that this is like my workout shirt. I just got done with the bike ride. When I left for college mid-semester only a few months ago, I was convinced my career was dead. But I'm here with you doing better than ever. I can take care of my mom, and in my spare time, I am a ghost hunting, jetpack flying queen of photography. Today we're learning about the exposure triangle and shutter speed. The exposure triangle are 3 things that decide how much light reaches our photo. The 3 parts of the exposure triangle are ISO, which you already know about, shutter speed, which we're learning about today, and aperture. We'll get to that another time. If you reduce light with one part of the triangle, like ISO, you can add light with the shutter speed or aperture. They all work together perfectly. I'm horrified that I'm going to find a typo as I read through this, and if so, I need to find a pen quickly so I can take note of it on a piece of paper on my desk, so I can update the game today. Shutter speed is a measure of time. How long the shutter stays open and exposing the sensor to light. So 1 over 2000 means 1/2000th of a second. 1 over 500 means 1/500th of a second. You get the idea. The faster the shutter speed, the less light reaches the sensor. And the most important thing you need to remember, slower shutter speeds will create motion blur if your subject is moving quickly. That's it. Let's get snapping. Cute ghost shining brightly. A good outfit isn't an outfit without accessories. This is my daughter's favorite ghost. She is 6 turning 7. So this is the first time when players will realize that they can't just adjust ISO to get the proper exposure. They also need to adjust shutter speed. And over on the left, it's blinking the text use 1 over 1000 or faster. So 1/1000th of a second or faster. So I'm going to set it to 1 over 2000. Set the ISO. I think you'll be an excellent fashion advisor, Katie says. Upside down ghost shining faintly. Your shoe is untied, they say. Alright, shutter speed, use 250, 1 over 250 or faster. Yeah, so that's the best I can do with the ISO. I play this game so much that I can play this almost intuitively, so it's not a very good, accurate portrayal of how long it takes to figure things out. I used to stick my legs up on the couch and rest my head on the floor. It's comfy. That is true. When I was a kid, that's one of the weird idiosyncrasies of my youth. Sans tail ghost shining brightly. Every ghost needs a ghostly tail. Have you seen mine? Use any shutter speed. Alright, all requirements are met. I basically added little check marks there just so players wouldn't have to guess at if they're going to get the full skill points or not. Petite ghost shining softly. I like to hide in small nooks under beds and behind couches. This reminds me also of my daughter, who's really small. I challenge you to an arm wrestle. I bet you're stronger than what you let on. It's inspired by some of my nieces who are really good at arm wrestling. Zero ghost shining brightly. My name rhymes with hero, so that's something I guess. 1 over 1000 or faster. Have to make it like that. When I'm streaming, I have to remember to keep my mouth closed, or else I end up playing games like I normally do on the couch. Keep my mouth closed. From zero to hero, Katie says. This should be the last ghost here. Laptop ghost shining brightly. For the best functionality, consider plugging in a mouse. I agree. I think trackpads are dumb. Not a fan of trackpads. They slow you down. Unless you are my colleague, Dr. Fung, who is so fast with a trackpad, it scares me. Level up, a new feature unlocked on my camera. Perfect way to end today's stream. Start the next day. Sorry for not streaming last week. My mom got sick with COVID and she had to stay at the hospital. She's back at home and starting to recover, so I wanted to get out and fly. Today we'll focus on the last part of the exposure triangle, aperture. Aperture changes how open or closed the lens is, more open, more light, and blurry and painterly backgrounds. More closed, less light, and crisp and in-focus backgrounds. If you want a portrait, you choose a blurry background so the viewer mostly looks at the subject. If there is an interesting background, you want it also in focus. Choosing your aperture leads to a bunch of fun artistic choices, which is true, which is why on my film camera, I use the aperture priority mode, which sets the aperture first, and then the shutter speed changes automatically to my ISO. Let's see if we can get some cool portraits with blurry backgrounds and fun snapshots with crisp in-focus backgrounds. Enough chatting, let's get snapping. Now these pre-stream chats by Katie, they're great and all, but players don't read. That's one of the first things that you learn as a game designer. Players don't read. And so you still have to design the game so that if they ignore everything described to them in text, they can still kind of figure things out. And I've tested this game a lot, and I think it's to that point. People don't even read the text on the top left corner of the screen where it has the requirements. So right here, for instance, it says Fast Ghost, use 1/1000 or faster. That's one reason I added the check marks on the right, because people don't want to read when they play games, which makes total sense to me. And this is where the game starts to get fun, because you're like, okay, I'll adjust the shutter speed, proper exposure. Oh, shutter speed needs to be faster. Now the ISO, aperture, with the 3 parts of the exposure triangle now working together, this is the most fun part of the game, this and the next level. Nothing is more punk than supporting your local library. Triangle Ghost shining brightly, you will find me as part of any bridge construction plan. Alright. All requirements are met. The camera settings are saved from one photo to the other, because that's how real photography works. And so sometimes, just by chance, some of the camera requirements or photo requirements are already met. That's a Fonzie reference. Go watch Happy Days, says Cool Ghost, shining brightly. Okay, that's fine. There we go. Wow, you're really friendly for someone who appears aloof. What's my best feature? My eyes or my smile, says Skull Ghost. So, can't quite get there. Use any shutter speed. There we go. Hey, you wouldn't happen to know Jack Skellington, would you? 7 Ghost, shining faintly. I'm the best David Fincher movie. Don't listen to Punk Ghost. That's 7 Ghost. So David Fincher directed a movie called 7. There are 7 days in a week for a reason. It is just the perfect number of days. Sleepy Ghost, shining brightly. Snore. Let's end the stream here. I look forward to our next session. So now all the camera features are unlocked. And so now we just got to learn how to reduce our ISO by balancing the other requirements of the photo. The last tip I can give today is this: always try to have the lowest ISO possible. Since a higher ISO adds randomized noise or visual static to a photo, adjust your aperture and shutter speed first, then see how low your ISO can go. But be sure not to have an underexposed image. Before we start snapping, I have been getting a lot of questions about my mom, so I think it's time to give you a final update. My mom died last week, we just had the funeral. Mom has struggled with substance abuse, and with her body recovering from COVID, it appears she's self-medicated. A friend found her on the couch unresponsive. I'm glad I have this outlet to help me feel some normalcy, so thank you. Thank you so much for being here for me. What I need right now is a distraction, so let's get snapping. Cyclops Ghost, shining brightly. I see all. That's a Lord of the Rings reference. Lowest ISO is 100. No Face Ghost, shining brightly. I'm never not looking my best. So now we have a check mark on ISO, so we know when we're technically at the lowest ISO possible, which is just convenient. I really like the check marks on the side. That was inspired by my wife playing the game, so thanks to her, I added those check marks. Apple Ghost. I am every doctor's worst nightmare. An apple a day. The lowest ISO is 100. Go. I was visiting the University of Minnesota when they announced a new type of apple. The University of Minnesota develops a lot of different apples, and I got one of my degrees from the University of Minnesota. 5 Ghost. Have you seen 4 or 6? We're supposed to meet up later. 1,000 or faster. 5.6 or lower. Oh. There we go. Mustache Ghost. Yes, my whiskers tickle. Just makes kissing more fun. F8 or higher. There we go. Antler Ghost. Nothing to see here. Nothing out of the ordinary. Oh, let's just go here first. 5.6 or lower. The real trick to adjusting your ISO is just adjust the ISO last. That's Cool Ghost. We don't need them right there. A party of 4 is just the perfect number of people to have fun. Any shutter speed. There we go. Trucker Ghost shining brightly. Look out for that alligator in the right lane a mile ahead. Trucker lingo, supposedly. Any shutter speed. There we go. When you use any shutter speed, the ghost is still F8 or higher. I hate that I still think of her so much, thinking about her mom. 2 Ghost. 1 is the loneliest number. I'm much better company. Oh, no ghosts in this area. Oh, 1 new ghost over there. Cassette Ghost shining softly. There's something special about that click and hum of cassettes. Here we go. My mom had a major collection of cassette tapes. Her favorite was MJ. Eye Patch Ghost. I enjoy the fashion accessory element to my patch. It's cool. My mom would have loved this ghost. Thick Ghost shining brightly. I find that most people are intimidated by my presence. Let's end the stream here. I look forward to our next session. Some of you have asked about my plans to go back to college. I'm happy to announce that I'm headed back to school in the fall. Don't worry, I'll keep streaming. This is a very healthy outlet for me, and it should keep giving me valuable experience to help my career. For now, I'm focused on finding a very special ghost. If I find her, I'll let you know. I don't know if it'll make a difference to me or her, but I feel like I have to try. To speed up the hunt, I've set my camera to auto mode. All I have to do now is take the photo. The camera will do the hard work. See, at this point I figured players have gotten the idea of the camera, and this is like the epilogue of the game. Auto mode can be disabled in the assist menu. For now, I want to get out there and do my best. Let's get snapping. So now it's just about collecting the remaining ghosts and looking for her mom. Sans body ghost. Nobody understands no body. Now all the camera settings will be perfect every time. I still allow the player to adjust the camera settings, so I can adjust the focus any way I want, but when I go down it fixes itself. Same with ISO. And sometimes you can see other features change randomly. Here there's only one solution, huh? This was a tricky thing to make it so it has perfect settings every time, and also to make sure that no ghost has an impossible set of photo requirements. That was perhaps the most complicated part of designing the game mechanics. So the requirements are randomized, but every ghost, you're able to properly photograph every ghost and get a proper exposure of every ghost. And the auto mode also was tricky because there's oftentimes more than one group of settings that will get you the perfect photo, but sometimes there's two, sometimes there's one, sometimes there's four or more. And so that was really tricky to design. Circle ghost, you spin me right round, baby right round. Now skill points don't even matter anymore. This is just about finding your mom. Katie says, my mom would ask me to bake pies for Pie Day. I never did. Raindrop ghost, nothing beats a warm blanket, hot chocolate, and rain outside. Nine ghost, Holy Trinity, squared, means more threes and more me's. You'll see a lot of Katie's comments are about her mom now. Not always, though. One ghost, not a prime number, contrary to what you might assume. It's true, one is not a prime number. The lowest prime number is 2. Headless ghost, I have no mouth and I must scream. So creepy. It's a short story called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. You can get a steak here, Daddy-O. Don't be a square. That's a reference to Pulp Fiction. Even though in the movie she draws a rectangle. My mom told me that perfect squares look too tall to human eyes. That is true. Human eyes cannot perceive perfect squares correctly. They look off to us. You see, but you do not observe. This is a quote from Sherlock Holmes, I think. Why does this ghost remind me of my mom? Twins ghost. Everybody assumes we're related, but we're just friends who look alike. Kind of reminds me of the scene from the movie Sinners where they ask him if they're twin brothers, and they said, "Nah, we cousins." It's just a funny line. A traditional incandescent bulb uses 25 watts of electricity. An LED bulb uses much less. As white, I play C4. The English opening throws off opponents. So it's true, when I play chess, I play 1 C4. That's my opening move when I play as white. And I try to play it as a reverse Sicilian. And then as black, against D4, I play Sicilian. And then against D4, I play just D5. Just because I look like a germ doesn't mean I'm sick. It's actually not a germ, it's a sun. And the big joke with that ghost is that everyone thinks it's a germ ghost, but it's really a sun ghost. Let's get all these ghosts. 5 more ghosts. Beard ghost. Mr. T is my spirit animal. Did this one because I have a beard that I'm actually growing out this summer. We're making it longer. I keep it pretty well trimmed. Spiral ghost. Look directly at me. You are getting sleepy. My mom would have loved this ghost. Audiophile ghost, vinyl CDs, then stream. That's my preferred order of quality. For audio fidelity. High fidelity audio. I hate that I still think so much of her. Heart ghost, shining faintly. I love you. My mom would have loved this ghost. So we've captured 49 of the 50 ghosts. Is that her? Mom shining brightly. And you don't see her because she's not there. And this is the end of the game. I will never find her because she's gone. I hate what she did, but I have to move on. Photography isn't just about the past, it's about the present and the future. I have a future now, a future that was almost robbed from me, and my camera will be ready to capture that future. The end. Thanks for playing. Goes to credits. Title screen. That's my game! Snapshot Spirit Live. That was a lot of work. I actually looked at when I had a first prototype of this game. I started it in July of 2024, and I released it July 1st, 2025. I thought it'd be fun if I ended the stream by actually looking at that first prototype. So I'm going to just make it full screen right now while I load up that very first prototype so you don't see where I'm going on my computer. There we go. Old versions. Older. The oldest version I have. It's called Proto for prototype. 24 for the year of 2024. 07 for July 18. So I will load that up and make it so you can see what's happening now. Or stream. So the very first version of this game started as like a bike messenger game that was really small. Again, you can barely see it because it's 480 by... And I made it so it's riding a bike, but it's like tile-based movement. And that's all I had. And the idea was you'd bike around town and take people's photos. I still like this mechanic, movement mechanic. I might use it in a future game. And I'm going to pick a random other version. Here, I'll try to pick just a random, like a month later, to see my progress. Well, this is when I transitioned to jetpacks. And like much different art. And the way I was designing this game, I actually designed the whole game to only be to use 4 direction buttons, including like everything for like taking photos. And the idea was you didn't have fuel, you had a jetpack batteries that you'd collect like batteries for. And this is like an old version. Again, no sound. And I didn't have scrolling, so you actually had to hit it a bunch of times. Much more stripped down. And the take photo button would only appear if you had a perfect exposure. So you can even see if the exposure goes up, it does get brighter or darker. All right, so let's get a proper exposure. Oh, were there other photo requirements? Damn it. I gotta find what they are so I can take the photo. Fuck. Oh, don't mean to swear. Ah, anyway. It's kind of a funny difference. Anyway, it's been a long journey. It's released. Play it. Reach out to me. Hope you enjoy it. I'm going to end the stream now. Thanks so much.